Alright, welcome back to day 9 of Learning Fusion for the CAD class. Today what we're going to do is draw this pink bracket, so we're extending on building geometry on top of geometry, not just cubes and cylinders now, but actual shapes of parts. You'll notice here the name of this one is called the pink bracket, just the basic name. But if you imagine having a piece of angle iron with two gussets welded to them, and then some holes drilled in it at some specific spots, and then some fillets and rounded edges. We're going to get into that today. The drawing for it, this is the drawing that I have. So for your dimensions, the drawing of the actual dimensions is a lot harder to read than this is, even though this is not a good one. But all the dimensions are here, so we're going to get into this. So we'll see if I can put this up so we can see it. I'm going to be able to see the whole thing the way my screen is working. We may just have to flip back and forth like we did before. Alright, so start a new drawing. So you can go to File, New, or you can go to the plus sign up here on the toolbar. I've already got mine started. First thing we're going to do is save. So call this the pink bracket. And for me it's V2 because we've already drawn it. Make sure you're in your folder and hit the save button. Alright, so now one of the big things about drawing irregular shapes is where do you start? We'll notice on here, this looks like kind of a piece of angle iron, and then these extra pieces are on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this general shape. Now if I start from the top down view and I draw this square, extrude it up, then I'd have to draw another square here to extrude that up. But if I start from this side right here, I can draw this L profile and then extrude it through, and I have the whole thing in one shot. So that's what we're going to do. I need my whole screen showing here. So we're going to do create sketch. Now since we're drawing this side of the object, I'm actually going to pick the front side, or the XZ plane this go around. And I do want the origin to be in the center, but not so much left to right center. It's going to be the front to back center. You'll see that in a second. So let's sketch this general profile here of this L shape. So it's 150 millimeter long on the base. It's 10 millimeters tall as a thickness, and then it extends up 45 millimeters. And we're not going to worry about the fillets until afterwards. That's a modified solid rather than doing it in the sketch. It just makes it easier. So the way I'm going to do this is we're going to do a sketch. We pick the front view, do the line, and I'm just going to sketch some lines on the page. And for this, actually I'm going to use the origin as the back part here, just as something to click on. So I'm going to draw a line here. We're going to go, don't click the check mark. We're going to click and just make some lines on the page. Then we're going to come back and hit D for dimension. Click on this line. This one needs to be 150. Notice that it already picked up the perpendicularity. If that's not showing, we want it. So notice right here it's not. Let's go to constraints. Come down here to perpendicularity and make sure these two are. Now you'll notice that's a vertical line. Press D again for dimension. Let's do this side. You'll notice on the drawing that is a 10. It is also a 10 on the width. If you look right here, that's the top portion of the bracket. So we'll do this one. It's 10. Since we told this line to be completely vertical and perpendicular, it knows it's starting at the origin, so that's fine. And then the overall height of this side, if you look right there, is 45. That gives us our general L-shaped profile. So we're going to hit Finish Sketch or Extrude, either one here. Now, the origin is in the center of this. Let's see if I turn it on for you. So notice the origin is where I'm at. I actually want to extrude both directions from this so the origin stays in the center of the part. This is going to make it easier to do the mirror feature a little later on. So let's go up here to the dialog box for Extrude. Click on where it says Direction One-Sided. Come down to Symmetrical. Click on that, and if we'll do Extent or Whole Length measurement, and the full width right here, notice, is 82 millimeters. So let's type in 82, and there's that basic bracket shape. I could go on and do the fillets now, but I may need the sharper edges later. Actually, just going to do it now. I think I rolled the time bar back just to show you that. So if we notice this edge right here, which is this point, has a 3 millimeter radius. So we'll click on that. So does the bottom one, so I'm going to do them at the same time. Type in 3. Notice it rounded it off. That's what we want. All right, so now what we've got to try to do is make these two gussets, if you want to call them that. And you'll notice that it says they're 20 millimeters apart. They're 10 millimeters wide each. This specific drawing does not specify it, but it is assumed they're centered. If you were actually dimensioning this drawing, you should have a placement specifically stating that it is either in the center or a distance from an edge to one of these brackets. It is centered, so we're going to leave it at that. And it's 20 millimeters centered. So here is a new feature. I don't think I've discussed this one yet. We're going to create a construction plane, an offset construction plane for a sketching area that is going to be in line with one of these brackets. So what I want you to do is go up here to Construct, do the drop down menu, and want to do what's called an offset plane. So you'll notice that this is my origin plane to have my XY, XZ, and YZ planes, but I want one that is specifically on this edge, so I can draw this edge right here. And you'll notice that since this is centered, it's 20 millimeters between them. That means that it's 10 millimeters behind the origin plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a construct and an offset plane. And then we want to click this plane. Now you can do edges and shapes. We'll do those later on, but for right now we want to do this. And it's saying, well, how far do you want it to offset? We're going to do half the distance. And that's 10. And you'll notice there's a new plane. I'm going to turn the origin off. So you see just this plane, and you'll notice it's not quite centered. It's actually 10 millimeters off of center. And this is going to be the sketch plane for this part, this gusset part right here. So now we're going to do a Create Sketch. So click on Create Sketch. You'll notice the origin popped up, so make sure you don't click on the origin. We want to pick on this new construction plane here. And it's a little hard to tell, but what that's done is it's created a plane that's 10 millimeters off of center. If you'll notice, it's not centered. And we're going to draw this profile here. So let's go back to direct front view. And this sketching is going to be a little different. It is rounded. Let me show you the actual whole thing here. So you'll note it has these rounded edges here, the whole top is rounded. It specifies the center of this hole, which happens to be the center of this outer radius here. But more specifically, actually, let me show it to you this way because I can zoom in. Notice that I have a fillet, but I need to know where this corner is. If I were to extend those two lines down, it's saying it's 40 millimeters from the bottom to that corner. and it is 25 millimeters from the bottom to where these two would come together. That's very important. So let's go back to the bracket. The first one states that it is 25 millimeters up. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to draw just a basic profile. So go to line, we'll come right here, and notice, just like in the last video, I can't click on that corner because I'm in the middle of this object. The corner is here, it's not on the plane that I'm drawing on, so I need to project that geometry to this plane. So let's click P. You can do letter P on the keyboard, or you can come to create, come down here to project, and you'll see that there's the P for the shortcut. So click P, and then if I hover over this whole object, it's picking all of those outer dimensions. Hit OK, and then there's my corners. So what I want to do here is I want to draw a line that goes up a little bit, one that kind of comes at an angle, and then one that goes straight up. And then we'll give this dimensions, so we'll do D. See if I can get you where you can see the drawing. So it's 25 from the bottom to that corner and 40 up to this corner. And then because this right here has a 21 millimeter radius, we know that this width across here is going to be 42. So let's add those dimensions on. So if we go from this point here to the very bottom, that is going to be 25. And then if we come from here to the very bottom, this is going to be 40. And then if we say from this edge to this, this should be double the radius, 42. And notice you have the sharp edges, they're not rounded like they are in the drawing. We'll correct that at a later point. We're also going to come in here now and do a circle, center diameter circle. Just place it somewhere in this vicinity, and then we'll hit D for dimension. Notice that it is 64 millimeters from the bottom. So we click here to the center of the circle. Put it over so you can see a little better. Then 64. And then it is 21 from this outer edge. So that's from here to the center of the circle, pull straight up. That's 21. And then the circle itself, or the hole, is going to be 16 millimeters in diameter. So we click the outer edge of the circle, and there's 16. Notice it went black. That's fully constrained. That's what we want. Now, in the last video, I showed you how to do a slot to make a rounded edge of a rectangular shape. You'll notice since this isn't a slot, this is where that previous example comes in of creating one from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a center diameter circle. We're going to make these two circles concentric. So I'm going to hover over the center until that blue circle appears, then click it, release, drag over, and then what I want to do is if you come down and hover over this corner, this top edge, you'll notice the blue polar line appears. Tell you what, let's escape for a second. We'll draw a line first. What I want to do is come from this point straight up, and then I'm going to go to the center of the circle until that blue circle appears, and then drag over. You'll notice the blue lines appearing and it locks on to right there. That's going to give me an edge to extend this circle out to. So now I'll go and do a center diameter circle. Come to the center of this one, click on it, drag out, and now I have a point to latch on. Notice there's the 42 millimeters that it should have been, which is exactly what I want. And because I sketched this line freehand, it probably does not meet. If you'll notice that, so be very, very careful of that. What we're going to do now is hit modify, extend, and if I zoom out, you should notice that it extends to the tangent point, which is what I want. Make sure that finishes out. Otherwise, this wouldn't have latched in. Let me back out. Notice this isn't blue, meaning that's not a closed drawing. You won't be able to extrude it. This happens from time to time, and if you zoom in, I'm using the center rolly wheel on the mouse. Zoom in, notice these two aren't connected. So what I can do is just go to modify, extend, click that. Notice the red line's appearing to the tangent point, and once they connect, now it's blue, meaning I can extrude it. The last part I want to do is trim this out. This bottom edge I don't need. We'll go to modify, trim, or T for the shortcut. Hover over it. Notice the red is what's going to be removed. And then there's the general shape of that gusset. Now again, these are radiuses. They're rounded off, but I'm going to do that in the solid features. So let's go on and hit finish sketch, and we're going to extrude. And remember that we did an offset plane 10 millimeters over, so that's this edge, this inner edge. So I'm going to extrude away from this. So let's click E for extrude on the keyboard. Grab this center portion, just as long as that lights up, not the hole, not the bracket, but this portion. And we want to make sure it's going in the right direction. If you do have the same orbit feature as me, I'm holding shift, the center rolly button on the mouse, and that way I can move it. And then grab the arrow and pull in that direction. And it's 10 millimeters wide. Notice right there, 10 millimeters wide. So the plane is actually sitting right here, and then we're extruding back this way 10 millimeters. And hit OK. And there's the gusset. Now I can go back and do rounded shape. So you have a 15 millimeter fillet here and a 2 millimeter fillet there. So we'll go to modify, do the drop down, fillet, or F is the shortcut. Click on that. And then I want to get this edge right here. Make sure that edge appears. Click on it and then tell it it's going to do 15. And it's automatically going to, based on these angles and all that, create the tangent fillet. And we hit OK. Now this one is the 2 millimeter, so we'll go to fillet again. Make sure you click the line and then type in 2. And there's the gusset. And you also notice there is a hole right here. It is 7 millimeters from the plate up and 15 millimeters from the edge in. So I'm going to go back to the direct front view. We're going to put it right there. So let's go to create sketch, and we're going to choose this surface of the gusset we just made as our plane. We could have also done this in the original sketch, would have been fine. And we can go back and do that too if you want. But for right now, we're just going to draw it on here. You'll notice that I now have another sketch, and if I do it the other way, it simplifies this timeline, which is typically what you want. While we're here, I'm going to go on and show you. So we'll do a center diameter circle, place it somewhere, doesn't matter, give it some distance. Notice right now we didn't give it any specified dimensions. I didn't type anything in. If I hit escape, I can make it bigger, smaller, I can move it around. So we need to constrain this, so we'll do a dimension from here to here. It said that it was 7.5 up. And then from this edge to the center of the circle is 15. And then the circle itself is, it's actually not listed, so let's go here. It is a 10 millimeter circle. So we'll do D for dimension, click the outer edge, and tell it 10 millimeters. There it is. Black means fully constrained. You can hit finish sketch and extrude it. In this case, we're going to extrude it through it, which is going to be a cut feature, and hit OK, and there it is. Now, to show you what I was talking about as far as simplifying the timeline, notice that the sketch for the gusset is right here. then the extrusion for the gusset, then the 2 fillets, and then I had to make another sketch and another extrusion for the hole. Where if we back up, let's take all of this back out. Alright, so notice the sketch and extrusion are now gone. I'm going to double click on the original sketch of the gusset. And I'm going to draw that same circle. Dimension it. 7.5. 15. 10. Hit finish sketch. And then I'm going to double click the extrusion. Take the hole out. Now, if I'd have done this all in one shot, you wouldn't have to do it. I'm showing you how you can modify one. Hit OK. And then now it rolls all the way back to the end of the timeline. All the fillets are there, but the hole is in it. Timeline is now shorter. It's less cluttered. When you get into really, really big drawings, that's going to be very, very helpful. The shorter the timeline, the easier it is to get back and forth to things. I have some drawings, the timeline, you have to roll for days to get to them. So the shorter you make it, the simpler it is, the easier it is to modify. Alright, so now we've got our one gusset. You notice the back gusset, and I want to create the gusset again on the front side, but rather than doing another plane and sketching a whole other drawing, since they are symmetrical and since they are identical, we can use the mirror feature. So for this, we're going to turn the origin on first, and what that's going to do is it's going to give me that center plane right there to mirror around. So if we go to create, notice we're in the solids menu. This isn't the sketch menu. Come down here to mirror, and then it's already selected it for me. If it said bodies, make sure you change this to features. And if we pick this object right there, and then mirror plane, click on select, and what we want to do is we want to pick that plane right there and hit OK. And now it duplicated it, and I didn't have to do anything else. It is odd it didn't keep the fillets. That is strange. So what we're going to do here is roll back in the time bar. Free fillets. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's roll it back forward. Double click it. And that's what I thought. It's not there. I didn't bring those over in the feature. I wonder why. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. That's why. What I did, I double clicked. If you haven't done this, you can do it. Double click the fillet so it brings that menu back up. Oh no, not the fillet, the mirror. Double click the mirror. Notice the object got selected, but the fillets didn't. So all we need to do is come in here and click on those if we can get to them. It may not let me. Interesting. Usually I'll be able to select it, but it didn't want to this time. Alright, what I'm going to do is take these two out and then redo them. So we'll do a fillet here and here. I think that was 15. Hit OK, and then do another fillet there and there. These were 2. There we go. That corrected it. Normally it would take a whole feature in. I don't know why it didn't want to do that particular time. Alright, so now if we look back at our drawing, there's our gussets on the bracket, basically our angle iron shape right here. And then we need these 4 holes. So these 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice it's 60 from the end, 60 millimeters between them, and 60 millimeters this way. So let's do that. We're going to sketch on this surface, the top of this bracket. So go to Create Sketch. Click on this top surface here. I'm going to turn the origin off so just less cluttered drawing. And let's do, we're clicking center diameter circle. We're going to place 2 of them and then dimension them. So from the edge to center, you look there's the 60, and then from center to center is also 60. And then I'm going to turn my origin back home for a second, because from the center of the origin to the center of the holes is going to be half the 60 you see right there. So that's going to be 30. And then we'll do the diameter of the circles, which is going to be 11. And I'm doing equal constraint. So go constraints, equal this one and this one. They're the same size. So we've told it is 30 to the center. And just to make sure, because I'm not sure if it took it, we're going to do a vertical horizontal constraint and do the center of this one to center of this one, so they're on the same plane. Now I notice they're black, they're fully constrained. That's what we want. That's good. And I'm going to go on and mirror these rather than drawing them twice. We'll go to create, mirror, and in this case we're in the sketch mode, so it's going to mirror these circles. And then for selection, we're going to try to get in here to this origin plane. You may have to move your screen around where you can see it. Notice they appear on the left side. Hit OK. And then I can hit E for extrude and click all 4 circles. You could have done one side, extruded them, and then done a mirrored feature. That would have been fine. But since I was in sketch mode, we'll do it like this. And there you go. There's the full bracket. I'll turn the origin off again. The only thing left to do now is the appearance. Notice the appearance is again that kind of pinkish color. Click A for appearance. And you can pick any color you want. And remember, if you want to modify it, whatever color you select, scroll back to the top in the dialog box, double click on this, and then you can make it any color you want. Now, that's the whole object, but if you'll notice in the drawing, the holes don't have the color. So if you imagine the bracket had been painted and then drilled and reamed for a specific hole, we didn't want paint to where the pin's going to go through. So we're going to change those to the steel color. And that's really easy. So what we're going to do just now, and instead of bodies and components, we're going to go to faces. And then we're going to pick up the steel side and hover right over the center of the hole. And now it has the reamed steel coloration to it. Rotate the drawing around, get the other side. And then I don't know why it wasn't in my drawing. These should have also been the same way. And there you have it. So there's our multiple geometry piece. So we did an L-shaped bracket, probably a piece of angle iron, and with these plasma or CNC cut brackets welded in place here. Or maybe not welded because there's no welding seam. But anyway, just to give you an idea what that is, just to give you some multiple geometry. And that's it. Be sure and save it, put it in your correct folder, and I'll see you in the next video.